Reagan, and yes, I'm wearing my pajamas because changing in this sling is really time consuming and hurts, and all I plan on doing today is sitting in bed and reading anyway, so I figured you guys wouldn't mind if I wore my PJs in this video. Okay, so today I'm filming my July wrap-up. One, I cannot believe July is over. That's kind of blowing my mind right now. And two, July was a really weird reading month for me. I felt like I didn't read anything, but I read 14, gonna be 15 books by the time July ends, which is a lot, I know. But it was just strange because at the very beginning of the month I was really into reading, but I only read 2 books in the first half of the month because one was super long, and you'll see, and then I had a mini bit of a reading slump, and then I just read a whole bunch of short books, which kind of made my book count go up, but whatever. Let's get started. This intro is way too long, so yeah. The very first book I read this month was Codename Verity by Elizabeth Vine. I don't have it with me because I lent it to a friend because I loved it that much. This is a World War II novel that centers around 2 female lead protagonists, and it's all about, one, the relationship and their relationships and their jobs within World War II, because they're both participating in the war in 2 very different ways, but and also their friendship. And it was so fantastic. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I don't want to say much because I went into it really blind, and I actually found it much more interesting that way as I read and found out what was going on to these 2 women. But I thought it was beautifully written. I thought it was really unique in terms of writing and storytelling. I was entranced. I cried like a baby 4 days after I read it. I was really sad when I read it, but then it all hit me while I was driving home from work, and then I just started crying driving home from work. So basically everyone probably thought I was crazy, but it was wonderful, and I'm really excited to hopefully read the companion novel soon, Rose Under Fire, and yes. The next book I read, because I was really feeling historical fiction, was The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simons. This is a epic historical fiction love story set in World War II during Russia and the Soviet Union. I absolutely love this book. This book is really long. It's over 800 pages long, and the font is not big. It's a hunker, but it didn't feel like one. I flew through this, and to be quite honest with you, I was obsessed with it while I was reading it. I ended up giving it a 4.75 out of 5 stars, which I realize is a really strange rating, but I absolutely loved it. But there was one area of the book, for about 200 pages, there was basically copious amounts of sex, which I don't mind because sex is a part of life and it's not a big deal, but to me, this delivery of it, I found there was this trope, this pure maiden trope, was kind of overused, and in general I just found it repetitive, and I wanted more. I wanted more than just the physical aspect of their relationship. I wanted some more dimension, so because of that I took off 0.25 off the rating of the story, because I literally couldn't do any more, because this was absolutely fantastic and probably one of my favorite books I've ever read. That being said, I have a review film for this. I just need to edit and upload it, so I'm gonna stop talking about it now and check out that review when I upload it, which hopefully will be soon. The next book I read after that was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I absolutely loved this book. I loved this book. It was like everything my nerd soul wanted in life. Oh my god, it was so good. This book is set in the near future, I guess would be the best way to describe it, and the world has gone to shit. It's the climate's all messed up. Basically, the environmental disaster has occurred, fossil fuels are no longer there, and the world was not prepared, so everything's just kind of gone to hell. However, there was this video game designer who created this thing called the Oasis, and it's this virtual reality game, and it's not a bad thing. People go to it, and it's an escape, and it sounds freaking awesome. But this man obviously accumulated a vast amount of wealth, and then he died, and he basically entrusted his entire wealth and estate to the person who can find this thing, an Easter egg that he left in the game. An Easter egg is sort of like a programmer's treat to the video gamer if they can find it, you know what I mean? They're normally really hard to find. This book was so much fun. It was literally my one true love. It was just a whole bunch of nerd culture, video game culture, just 80s pop culture just wrapped into this, and it was everything I love in life, and it was just so much fun to read about, and I freaking want Oasis to be real because that would be so much fun. I can't even handle it. So I think I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Again, it was just So much fun. And Ernest Cline lives in my city, so I'm gonna stalk him and find him and make him be my best friend. The next 4 books were the books I read during the Booktubeathon, which was unfortunately interrupted by my shoulder surgery, but I actually ended up doing better than I thought I would in the end. But all the books I read were pretty short, that being said. The first book I read is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me and Other Concerns by Mindy Kaling. This is Mindy Kaling's like memoir of sorts, telling about her life and how she became where she was with The Office and writing and stuff like that. I absolutely love Mindy Kaling. I think she's a fantastic role model. I think she's hilarious. I will love just everything she does. The Mindy Project is fantastic. So I would say if you love Mindy Kaling, give this a read. I ended up giving it like a 4-star, I want to say. I wish you listened to the audiobook, but I know she's coming out with a new book, so I will not make that mistake again, and I'm very much looking forward to that as well. So, yes. The next book I read was Midwinterblood by Marcus Sedgwick. This book was super interesting and just a fantastic piece of storytelling. That's how I describe Marcus Sedgwick. Well, I've only read one book, so that's how I would describe it. Yeah, this book is just a wonderful piece of storytelling. Marcus Sedgwick takes us on this journey of this super weird, strange story that doesn't make any sense until the end, but the whole time you're just enthralled and curious and you want to know what the hell is going on. This novel is centered around this island, and basically it's separated into 8 parts. Each part is set on this island or in some way connected to this island and takes place in 8 distinct time periods that are completely unrelated, but they somehow thread together at the end. It was super cool. I think I ended up giving this a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I really like his writing style and his type of storytelling, so I'm definitely going to be reading more of his books in the future. The next book I read was Howls Moving Castle by Diana Vine Jones. I loved this. If you didn't know about me already, I love Howls Moving Castle. That's my favorite Miyazaki film, probably one of my favorite movies of all time. So when I found out it was a book, I almost started crying because I was so excited. The book was also amazing. Slightly different than the movie. Slightly more logical than the movie. Like, I felt like the plot overall made more sense. So, but it was fantastic. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. If you're not familiar with the plot of Howl's Moving Castle, basically it's set in this like magical world where magic exists, and it follows a young girl named Sophie, and she's the oldest child of 3 children. So basically that means she's supposed to live a life of like boringness, like she can't go on adventures or do magic like younger siblings would who would make their fortune. One day she gets cursed by a witch, and because of that she's kind of forced to go on an adventure because she needs to get the curse off. And then she runs into a man called Hal, or a magician, who's supposed to be this evil magician, and he has like moving castle that she resides in. It's so fantastic. I loved it so much. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The last book I read during the Booktubeathon was Mr. Penumbras' 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. This is a really, really fun book. Much different than I was expecting. Yeah, basically it follows a young man who's a graphic designer in San Francisco, and he kind of down on luck, like he's having a hard time finding a job. It happens. So he gets his job at Mr. Penumbras' 24-Hour Bookstore, and it turns out to not be what it seems. It was, like I said, really fun, really fast-paced. I enjoyed the story quite a bit. I found it hard to relate to some of the characters. I don't know, perhaps it just didn't gel with me there, but I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. Again, I thought it was really, really fun. Mr. Penumbra is one of my favorite people in the world. So, the next book I read, I have a book review up for, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it's Everything I Never Told You by Celeste. Still should probably look up how to say that. I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. It's fantastic. It follows a mixed-race family in Ohio, and their prized daughter at the beginning of this book dies. So it's all about the mystery of finding out how she dies, and then basically the aftermath of what that happened, what that death did to the family. It was fantastic, riveting, highly recommend it. Check out my review if you want more information. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I kind of went into like a reading slump, so I didn't feel like reading anything at all. So then I started reading some like graphic novel type things, just to kind of ease me back into it. And the first one I read was The Arrival by Shan Tan. This isn't this is purely pictures. This is a picture book with no words. And it was super, super cool. This is like a surrealist take on immigration to a new place, probably turn of the century. It was so interesting. You follow this man who is immigrating from a place that's not a good place to live, and you see him slowly making his new life for himself and assimilating and like finding it as his new home, and it was just so interesting, and the illustrations are absolutely stunning. And like I said, there's a surrealist take to it, and I'll try to show you a picture that shows that. Meaning there's just like, it's very whimsical. Like here, look. Like look at that. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And it just paints a really great picture and shows the struggles of immigration. And I think it's a really interesting topic to read on about, so I really like that. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The second graphic novel I read was Amulet Book 2, or The Stonekeeper's Curse by Kazu, where is it? Who wrote you? Kibushi? I think that's what it is. Oh yeah, Kazu Kibushi. I loved this. I loved this even more than the first book. There's just something about this. I just love middle grade adventure tales. I think the drawings in this are amazing. This is the same guy who illustrates the new Harry Potter covers. I ended up giving this a 5 out of 5 stars. Again, book 2, so I can't say much, but it's just an adventure, alternate world, very interesting, really fun. I really love this series, so I'm excited to continue on. And the illustrations, I will say it again, are absolutely stunning. I love the art style in this. The next 4 books are all in the same series. I ended up marathoning a series, and that was the Giver Quartet, so I'll show them to you now, because I can't hold them up, because I only have one hand. So the first one is The Giver. It is Gathering Blue, and then Messenger, and then Sun, all by Lois Lowry. The first 3 books are in this quartet are very short, and I actually had read the first 3 books already a long time ago, and I just really felt like rereading it, especially with the Giver movie coming out, and I wasn't too sure on the trailer, so then I wanted to reread it to see the direction that the movie was deciding to go, which actually makes a lot of sense, so I understand the trailer now, and I actually am quite excited for this movie. Anyway, it's a whole nother video. But the books were amazing, and I'm so happy I decided to reread them. I rated them as following. The Giver, I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Gathering Blue, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Messenger, I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. And I gave Sun, which I hadn't read before and is the concluding novel to the series, a 5 out of 5 stars. All amazing. If you're not familiar with The Giver Quartet, I feel like a lot of people are really familiar with The Giver, so I'm going to kind of give an overview of the quartet instead. The Giver, as you know, is a dystopian world. So the books that come after The Giver follow different characters in each book. There's a different main character, it's not Jonas, and they each take place like slightly after the time of The Giver left off. However, all the characters that are highlighted or become the main characters in all the books are highlighted in each book. So you do get to find out here and there snippets of how some characters are doing and where they are in life. It's really fantastic and probably one of my favorite book series ever. So I really recommend it. If you haven't continued on past The Giver, I really would. It's good, I promise. The Sun, probably up there perhaps with The Giver in terms of like my favoriteness, because I really loved the topic of that, but I can't go into it obviously because spoilers, which is unfortunate. The last book I am reading currently, but July isn't over, but I plan on finishing this today, is The Falconer by Elizabeth May. This is a fairy young adult fantasy book. I'm not going to tell you my thoughts yet because I haven't finished it, but I'm mentioning it because if you don't follow me on Instagram, you wouldn't know this. I'm actually doing round 2 of my hashtag shit I have too many books readathon, which again is going to be hosted and done purely through my Instagram. It is a readathon. It started Wednesday the 30th and is going to last a week from that and end the next Wednesday. This is a low-key read whatever you want readathon. There are no challenges, no updates, nothing like that. However, if you want to show me your TBR, please use the hashtag shit I have too many books, and I really want to see it. I want to see who's participating and etc, etc. I do have a TBR posted on my Instagram, so if you're not following me there, you should, man. You should. And you can see the books I am reading and my progress throughout the week, and I'll also mention them in my TBR video, which will be up in a couple days. But that is all the books I have read in the month of July. Still can't believe July is over, and I will see you guys soon with another video.